Hi everyone, I'm Jay, this is the Camden Stitch and this is November Burda. Hello, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to be early this month in bringing you a review of November Burda magazine. I think it's really good. There are a lot of jackets and coats in it and I really like them. I should be taking photographs and inserting them so that you can see what I'm chatting about along the way. And just to let you know, the dress that I'm wearing is the Tilly and the Buttons Freya with a bishop sleeve hack, and it's part of a pattern hacking series that I have filmed and will be releasing in the forthcoming weeks, showing you how to take an ordinary pattern and change it up. Let's kick off. Quite a few little articles about making advent calendars, which are quite fun, quite good for using scraps. I never get around to making anything like that. The first pattern we've got is this lovely, it's the retro coat. It's the re-release of the retro pattern and it's really nice, and I think it's one that I would actually consider giving a make to because I do like coats that are skirted. And this one, if that's the right word, this one has a pleated skirt on it, and I used to have one that was black and I can't remember if the skirt was pleated or gathered, but it was quite similar to this in style and I flipping wore it to death. I absolutely loved it. And yeah, I really like that. I haven't looked at the pattern yet to see how difficult it is. It might be an advanced sew. How many dots is it? 3 out of 4. I don't know how hard it has to be to get a 4 from Burda, because even the 3 ones I think are pretty involved. Next up we have got a very simple cardigan with no bands or anything. It looks like there's a pleat in the sleeve, which is quite a nice detail. I think the biggest issue for me would be getting a suitable fabric, because I know in my other hat wearing role as fabric seller, sweater knits are pretty hard to come by, and the one that she is wearing is lovely. It looks so squidgy and thick, but I've never seen anything like that. In fact, it looks more like a coating. Yeah, it's called a wool. And for some reason she's grasping some plant pots. Next up we have another jacket and I like it very much. It's a variation on another coat that they've got further on. I like the fact that it's got this big asymmetric shawl collar, and I also like it when the shawl collar is done up and the buttons done up. I'm not sure about the waist tie and I'm not sure about the length. I think on me I would quite like that jacket crop, but I do really like it. Moving on, we've got a very boring blouse. The thing that you have to remember when you look at this is that it will be a lot of people's first Burda. There will be a lot of people reading it who are early on in their sewing journey, and so this might be the first time they've seen a pattern like that. Whereas when you've been sewing, well, I've only been sewing a couple of years, but I already feel like I've seen every pattern that every iteration of styles of patterns. I think it's quite rare that you see something new. So when you see something that is just a plain sort of bust darted, almost like a bodice block blouse like that, for me, I just look at it and think, you know, there's a million other patterns out there like this, but for somebody else it will be the one. Then we have got another jacket and I really like this one. I mean, I love jackets anyway, and when I used to buy ready to wear I always had a lot of coats and jackets, but I really like this one. It's got a funnel neck, it's got a single button at the top, and the sleeves, it says that they've got like a ball effect, but I can't see that. And I remember in August Burda there was a jacket, an asymmetric one, that had got these sleeves that were pleated. They came out and then they were pleated at the end, and I really liked them. And I was thinking about maybe using the bodice of this jacket, because I like the funnel neck, and putting on the sleeves of the other jacket. But I don't know, is that playing with fire doing that? On a Burda pattern, will it be too complicated? I don't really see why the construction should be different. You've only got to put the pleats in the sleeves, but There's a line in it and stuff, isn't there? You have to make sure that all the shoulder seams are correct and everything. Anyway, moving on, there is a dress that I really, really like. It is a sheath dress, a very close fitting sheath dress. It would be nice in something like a stretch cotton sateen. And it's got a lovely bateau neck, which I really, really love. I think they're so flattering. I really like those. And it's got this skirt waist shaping, which means that you can see on the line drawings, it's got these bands that shape it in and then out again at the waist, and I imagine that would give it a really, really nice shape. The only thing I think you'd have to be careful with that is you would really have to make sure that you measured your torso so that that middle of those two bands falls in bang on the right place, because like with me, I've got sort of smallish waist, big shelf hips, and if if I got that in the wrong place, I imagine that it would all push up and look really sort of not great. Right, moving on, we've got a wrap top, which is fine for a little top with some pleats, but what annoys me is you turn the page, another wrap top, like one following another. You don't think that whoever was editing this month would look at it and think, well, maybe we've got too many wrap tops and maybe we shouldn't place them the same page following after. The wrap blouse is slightly different. The first one's a faux wrap. This is a true wrap by the looks, but I don't know. I've obviously got a bee in my bonnet about wrap things, haven't I? Then we've got a mini skirt that's got cute little D-rings at the top, and I just think that's one of these little features that Burda puts on that I think is quite nice, and I think it kind of elevates it a little bit. You don't tend to get that very much in like the commercial patterns. You don't get these little, I've not seen it in indie patterns much either, these little kind of bows and twists and furbelows and fandanglements. Then we've got a skirt, which honestly I'm sure I've seen in Burda loads of times before. It's a midi skirt with a sort of another one of these fandanglements. It's like a tie on the waist. Let's have a look. I thought it might be for knits actually, but it isn't, it's wovens. Then we have got, I tell you, this is a trend that I was not hoping would return. We've got a top with another top, pretend top, sewn in underneath it. I suppose you call them 2-in-1. So it's a jumper with a hem hanging out the bottom. It's all right. I mean, I love the colour of things that they've used. It's coincidentally exactly the same colour as my dress. Now, what's this we have over the next page? You'll never guess what. It's only another blinking jacket. Now, I think this jacket is absolutely, I think it's so nice. It's got this enormo collar. I don't know what I would make it out of. It would be nice in, like, so the sample they've made up is in tweed and black wool. Now I'm thinking it would be nice in something like a faux suede and a corduroy in sort of the same colours. Yeah, it's cropped. It's got lovely sort of big, these big bands on the sleeves and this great big collar. I really like it. It looks a bit big on her actually. The style lines wise, it looks kind of like an exaggerated denim jacket. So it's got a 2-piece sleeve, it's got a yoke on the back. It's going to be a sort of, it's going to be a fairly involved make. Again, it's only got three stars, it's not a 4-star one. Moving on, we got another blazer, and it's got a raglan sleeve and this kind of, I don't know if you'd call it collarless or slightly built up collar style. Yeah, slightly built up collar. Looks absolutely brilliant on her. The sample they've made up in leather, I really like. Then we've got a quilted sort of puffer jacket, which again I really like. Maybe it's because it's Linda Evangelista modelling it, or at least I think it's her. She's making it look really cool. I mean, puffer jackets are not the first thing I would head to when I'm thinking of style, but it looks really nice. She's made it up in like a black velvet. Then we've got that midi skirt again with the twisty tie waist. A blouse that's really nice with a cut-in section on the sleeve that you can use a sheer fabric on, which I think looks really, really nice. Again, I think this is one of these sort of details that Burda puts in that you don't tend to get elsewhere. Then we've got a stretch top that's got a sort of bow back effect with ties. It's really nice, but I don't know where I would ever wear that to, because your back would be cold. Like, it's a sort of party top, but for me, I don't know. Well, A, I never go to any parties, but B, I would wear a dress, not a top to party. Anyway, it's nice, I like it. Then we have got this dress again with the nipped in waist, and it's made in like a black jacquard, and it looks brilliant, and it's got a little belt which makes me want to kind of make belts with my dresses. I really like it. Then we've got a sort of plainish blouse that's got like an overlay on, and the way that she's modelling it, it makes it hard to see how that overlay is actually intended to fall. But I think that could look really nice. Then we've got a skirt that is very much, I used to have a black dress exactly like this, made in like black satin with lace on it. This sort of underwear is outerwear trend. When I say I used to have it, I mean when I was like 25, and I wore that dress absolutely till it was falling off me. It does look pretty slinky, and it would be quite easy to make, I think. I'm just looking at the sewing instructions for that jacket with the big collar. It's got 19 pattern pieces. Hello. Imagine tracing all those off. I think I'd be actually waiting until Burda, because sometimes they release them as paper patterns. I'd be waiting until they released it as a paper pattern. Too lazy for that. Then we have a hoodie. This is in tall size. We got a hoodie with a really nice sort of curved hem, which isn't something that you often see on a hoodie. I like it though. Although raglan sleeves again, I don't know why, but I've had quite a few garments fail with raglan sleeves, both for me and for Ian. And I think possibly it's to do with the diagonal, the bias edge stretching out. But yeah, anyway. Then we got that jacket with the funnel neck that I like, made up in a sort of black and lime green check wool. And I think it looks really, really nice. And her boots are flipping gorgeous. They're by Moretti. I'd never heard of them. Then we got that blouse again, which Linda Evangelista was wearing in with like organza on the sleeve. And this is 2 shades of shirting, and I think it looks really chic. I really like it. Then we've got that skirt with the D-rings made up in tartan. I think it looks really lovely. I think it just looks like a little bit of punk to your wardrobe. And even though I never wear skirts and I don't really have any in my wardrobe, 1 or 2, that makes me want to make that. I bet it would take no fabric as well. Then we got some trousers, which I don't know if you watch. If you enjoy these videos that I do, Healer from Saturday Night Stitch has a subscription to Burda. I think she's a Burda certified teacher as well. She always does a Burda look through, and they're always before mine. And she was saying that she's seen these trousers in so many Burda issues, and she's sure that they were in the last issue, and I think they were as well. So I think Burda are recycling patterns a little bit. Now we have a quilted coat, and this is the sewing lesson, and it's the longer version of the quilted jacket, and I really like it. I think it's kind of like exaggerated enough that it makes it look stylish rather than just overly casual, sort of sloppy. I think it looks like a bit of a fashion statement as well, you know, it's particularly because they've made it up in checks, which are quite, you know, quite stand out, don't they? I guess this is because we're approaching Christmas, but now we've got a gown, and it is nice. It's the designer pattern, and it's very nice, and I like that they show you a model wearing it, obviously on the red carpet, and then obviously you've got the chance to sew it for yourself. I think it's pretty fantastic. Now we're moving on to the extended size range patterns. Now, I'm really gutted because this is obviously not gonna fit me, but I really love this sort of coat jacket with a curved hem at the front and this very, very long zipper, centre front zipper. I really like it. I think it's quite different. I really wish you could see it from different angles. Obviously you don't get that many pictures in Burda. Then we got a colour blocked pencil skirt that I think is again really nice. Over the page there's a colour blocked dress which I love. I think that would look really great. They've made it up in a stretch viscose. It looks to me like a ponte knit and I think it would look really good in a ponte knit. Then we got a hoodie anorak, a sort of quite fairly shapeless sort of blouse, but it's got a pleat in the back which I think is a nice feature. They've kind of they've inlaid the pleat with different colour fabric and I think that looks really nice. Oh, it's a tunic, not a top. A sweatshirt with piping down the arms that I think is a nice sort of addition to an ordinary sweatshirt pattern, and also I like it that it's got the funnel neck. I need to make some more tops like that because in the house I get so cold around the neck area and I'm actually walking around with a big scarf on at the moment. And that pretty much sums up Burda, apart from a few kids patterns that I'll just run through because they are really nice actually. There's a little bomber jacket, some trousers that look like they'd be easy peasy to make with elasticated waist, the cutest little girl's dress which is just kind of this shape with a pleat down the centre, and they make it up in two different fabrics, and honestly I wish I went up to size 98 centimetres. That's like, I don't know, age 7 or something, but I think it is the cutest. A hooded jacket and the dress again made up in a sort of polka dot fabric. It's just so cute. I'm already thinking, how could I maybe I could draft a pattern of that. And that wraps up November Burda. What do you think? Obviously it's very heavy on the outerwear, but as a jacket lover, that's not a bad thing. I think that I would have this in my stash, and over the years I will definitely make several of these jackets, even if I don't sort of rush out and whip one up straight away. There are quite a few coats in there that I will definitely be making in the future, and I just love Burda, you know. I have been looking at other sewing magazines recently and I just don't think they offer anything like the variety and the value for money that Burda does. I am going to review Fibre Mood for you because the last edition of Fibre Mood was absolutely brilliant. It's brilliant, but in a different way to Burda. Burda gives you kind of bang for your buck. It gives you a lot of patterns in here. Fibre Mood gives you fewer patterns, but they're kind of a bit more modern, and like the photography is beautiful. The instructions are more in detail, so you kind of get different things. I've also been buying La Maison Victor recently, and they've revamped it and very much kind of tried to make it in the line of Fibre Mood, I think. But the last two issues that I've seen, honestly, they're so dull. There's 8 patterns in it, which when you compare that with Burda, I mean, Burda always says it's got, on the cover it says 214 patterns. Well, there might be that many variations, but I'd say maybe there's 80 patterns in there. You get loads in the Burda, and then you got La Maison Victor and there's 8 patterns, and you know, of those probably 2 are kids, 1's men's, so what, 5 or 6 women's patterns. I just find their styles pretty boring as well. I just look at them and I think, what are you adding to the pot here? So I'm going to stop buying La Maison Victor. Anyway, that's enough from me today. If you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. If you haven't yet subscribed, click on the subscribe button and click on the ding ding bell, and you'll get a notification every time I post one of these vlogs. I shall see you very soon. Lots of love from Camden. Bye.